What if the real leverage lies not in possession but proximity? This question sits at the heart of global concern surrounding Iran's nuclear trajectory. For decades, nuclear deterrence was defined by possession. States either had the bomb or they did not. But in the 21st century, that binary is eroding. A new form of strategic power has emerged, threshold capability, where a state positions itself just short of weaponization, yet close enough to fundamentally alter the calculations of its adversaries. At the center of this debate is the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the 2015 agreement designed to limit Iran's nuclear program in exchange for sanction relief. Under its terms, Iran capped uranium enrichment at 3.67% and reduced its stockpile, extending its breakout time, the time required to produce enough fissile material for a single nuclear weapon, to roughly 12 months. However, after the United States withdrew from the agreement in 2018 under Donald Trump, the framework began to unravel. In response, Iran gradually expanded its nuclear activities, eventually enriching uranium levels at as high as 60%. To understand why this matters, one must look at the physics of enrichment. According to International Atomic Energy Agency, natural uranium contains only 0.7% of the fissile isotope U-235. For civilian nuclear energy, enrichment levels typically range between 3% and 5%. Weapons-grade uranium, by contrast, requires about 90% enrichment. But the process is not linear. By the time uranium reaches 60%, the overwhelming majority, roughly 90% of the technical work needed to achieve weapons-grade material has already been completed. The remaining steps can be accomplished relatively quickly, particularly with advanced centrifuges. As a result, Iran's breakout time has shrunk dramatically from about a year under the JCPOA to estimate as low as 1 to 3 weeks in recent assessments. Legally, Iran's position occupies a gray area. As a signatory to the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, Iran is entitled to pursue nuclear technology for peaceful purposes, including energy production, medical research, and scientific development. However, enrichment to 60% far exceeds any plausible civilian requirement. No country operating a conventional nuclear power program requires uranium at such high levels. This creates a situation where Iran may not be explicitly violating the letter of international law, but it is clearly testing its boundaries. Monitoring this activity falls to the IAEA, whose role is to clarify compliance and ensure transparency. While the agency continues to inspect Iranian facilities, it has raised repeated concerns about the reduced access, gaps in surveillance data, and the presence of undeclared nuclear material at multiple sites. Importantly, the IAEA has not confirmed that Iran is actively building a nuclear weapon. Yet, in nuclear politics, the absence of proof is not same as reassurance. The growing uncertainty, what is known, what is hidden, and what could happen quickly, has become a central source of tension. To understand the strategic logic behind Iran's actions, comparisons are often drawn with other nuclear states. Pakistan, for example, developed its nuclear program in direct response to its rivalry with India, particularly after conflicts such as the 1971 India-Pakistan War. In that case, nuclear weapons served as a clear purpose: deterrence against a neighboring adversary with which it shared borders and a history of war. Iran's situation, however, is less straightforward. Its primary adversary, Israel, is geographically distant, and while tensions are significant, they do not manifest as continuous border conflict. Similarly, the United States maintains a military presence in the region and has conducted targeted strikes, but these actions are episodic rather than existential in the same sense. So if not immediate survival, what is the strategic objective? One explanation is latent deterrence, the idea that the state can deter its adversaries not by possessing nuclear weapons, but by being close enough to acquiring them that any attack risks triggering rapid weaponization. This approach allows a country to reap many of the benefits of the nuclear deterrence without incurring the full political and economic costs of openly crossing the nuclear threshold. Another explanation lies in negotiation strategy. By advancing its nuclear capabilities, Iran increases its leverage in any future diplomatic engagement, effectively turning its program into a bargaining chip. Each incremental step forward raises the stakes, making any rollback contingent on the significant concessions. There's also a broader dimension of regime security and international status. Nuclear capability, even in the latent form, signals technological sophistication and strategic autonomy. States like North Korea have demonstrated that nuclear advancement can serve as a powerful tool for ensuring regime survival, despite international isolation. For Iran, a similar calculation may be at play, one that blends deterrence, prestige, and domestic legitimacy. Regionally, Iran's path is notable for its divergence. Other countries in the Middle East, such as Saudi Arabia and Egypt, have not pursued enrichment at comparable levels. This difference reflects varying strategic choices, reliance on external security guarantees, economic considerations, and the desire to avoid sanctions. Iran, by contrast, has opted for a more independent and more confrontational approach. Ultimately, the concern is not simply that Iran intends today, but how quickly its intentions could translate into capability tomorrow. In nuclear strategy, time is everything. When breakout periods shrink to weeks, decision-making windows for other states compress accordingly. This increases the risk of miscalculation, preemptive action, and unintended escalation. In this sense, ambiguity itself becomes a form of power. Iran's nuclear program does not fit into traditional categories of compliance or violation, peace or weaponization. Instead, it occupies a space in between, where uncertainty shapes behavior as much as capability. And that is precisely what makes it so consequential. Because in the evolving landscape of nuclear politics, the most significant shift may not be who has the bomb, but who can build it fastest and who can keep the world guessing.